privilege this year to welcome you all here this evening. Thanks to each of you who came to celebrate our nursing students and to witness this rite of passage. My name is John Elliott. I am the program director for the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program at Florida College. This is my first year. Special appreciation especially goes tonight to the Arnold P. Gold Foundation for the support of the White Coat Ceremony and for providing the commemorative Infinity Loop pins. History about the Arnold P. Gold Foundation is in your program. And while the foundation specifically emphasizes humanism in their philosophy, there is latitude given for some interpretation. Certainly the ideals of advocacy for human dignity run through all of the inspired Word of God, as well as through the precepts and ideals of professional nursing. And therefore it is appropriate to consider our ceremony tonight in this way. As the nursing cohort of 2026 symbolically takes on the mantle of professional accountability and acknowledgement of their lifelong commitment to nursing, no matter where and in which specialty they choose to practice. I'd like to offer these words from the foundress of modern nursing, Florence Nightingale. Nursing is an art, and if it is to be made an art, it requires an exclusive devotion, as hard a preparation as any painter's or sculptor's work. For what is the having to do with dead canvas or dead marble, compared with having to do with the living body, the temple of God's Spirit? It is one of the fine arts. I had almost said the finest of arts. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Evan Henson, RN, 2024 graduate of the Florida College Nursing Program and practicing nurse at HCA Brandon Hospital and Freestanding Emergency Department, to direct our hearts in prayer to our God.
Let's set our minds for this ceremony. I'm going to read from Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as a reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. Will you please pray with me? Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for put on this white coat. This white coat that symbolizes not just service to man and serving them and helping them in their health trials, Lord, but more importantly, service to you. An opportunity and a career that will hopefully guide others to lean more upon you and your understanding. We ask that you be with these future nurses in their trials, whether it be studies, in work, or in life, Lord, and just point them towards you continually, to have them be the bright, shining examples that we all know that they can be. We ask that you be with them day in and day out, be with us through the ceremony, to be focused on the things which are intended, and to be so just congratulatory and happy for those who are putting on the white coat this evening. We ask all this in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
I'd like to introduce Mrs. Lauren Murphy, RN. She attended Florida College with a focus on music and nursing. After completing her AA, she transferred to the College of Nursing at the University of South Florida, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Nursing with a minor in psychology. She worked as a nurse at Advent Hospital on the labor and delivery unit, as well as both the gynecology and mother-baby units. She also worked briefly as the nurse at Florida College, and having filled in as needs have arisen over the years at Florida College Academy, before the full-time employment of a licensed RN at the Academy. She currently teaches a music class at Florida College Academy each fall semester, which is her creative outlet, and is exploring possibilities for an advanced degree in nursing education. Lauren is wife to Peter Murphy, a business owner and now professor at the college, and mother to 3 boys, one of whom will attend FC in the fall. She continues to seek out educational opportunities in the field of nursing and is excited to watch this program grow at the school which she loves. Mrs. Murphy.
Good evening, teachers and friends and nursing students. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lauren Murphy, and I am honored to be a part of this momentous occasion in your journey to becoming healthcare professionals. The tradition of the white coat ceremony originated in 1993 at the urging of Dr. Arnold Gold, as your programs detail. I believe that Dr. Gold's assertion that healthcare professionals should commit to the precepts set forth in the Hippocratic Oath as they begin their educational journey, rather than at the end of 4 years, is a wise one. The commitment of a nurse to use good judgment and ability to help the sick and do no harm, to respect human life and dignity, to show compassion and practice with integrity, to conduct yourself with humility and honesty, and to honor the sanctity of the nurse-patient bond. Commitment to these precepts begins now, at the outset of your medical journey. These ideals are at the core of this noble profession, and you must choose to put them on daily as a figurative white coat to be the best that you can be for those within your care. To me, this sounds much like God's call to action in Micah for those that desire to please him. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly. This profession exemplifies those attributes. Your ability to answer this call, to take up this mantle for your patients and even more your God, will leave a lasting impression on those within your care. This week, as I was deciding how to best convey the responsibility and the privilege that it is to wear these white coats, I reflected on my own journey through nursing. My role within this profession has evolved and changed over the years. I've moved from bedside care, where I was integral in bringing life into the world on a daily basis in the hospital setting, to serving students as the nurse at this school for a time where mothering was often more the care than medical. I have cleaned wounds, put on countless Band-Aids, assessed for sports injuries, monitored growth and hormones, all the things that a nurse become mother keenly assesses on a daily basis. Yet in every season of my life, my training as a nurse has been relevant and applicable and useful. Tonight, I want to briefly share with you just a few of the precepts that I've allowed to direct my professional decisions and to do justice to the white coat that I have worn. First, I believe that compassion is the greatest gift that you can give to another human being. It recognizes the suffering of others, cares deeply, and takes action to help. Compassion and empathy. Over and over again, he tells us to be compassionate, to care for those in need, to lighten the load and ease the hurt of your fellow man. He modeled that for us over and over again in caring for the bodies and spirits of so many. As a nurse, you will walk with your patients through some of their darkest days. Yet you have the power to be a warm and comforting source of light through your tender care of them. It is a privilege to be allowed into such moments in their lives, and you ought to handle them with the tremendous. As Mr. Elliott mentioned, during my time in the hospital, I was a labor and delivery nurse, and that is where my heart is in medicine. I cared for women through one of the most challenging, exhilarating times in their lives. And I watched new life come into the world multiple times every day. There is no more beautiful testament to an intelligent designer than the process of birth. And I hope that each of you will get to see that at some point in your lives. My unit was different than most in the hospital because pregnancy is most often a state of wellness. Of course, there are circumstances that can alter that. But most of the time, the women within my care were well and happy and excited to enter this next phase of their lives. There was, however, one very challenging day that stands out during that phase of my career when that was not the case, and what should have been a perfectly healthy delivery for mother and baby ended in the loss of life and left a lasting impression on me as a young nurse. My patient was excited about the imminent delivery of her second child when the doctor came in to artificially rupture her membranes, more commonly to break her water, or AROM in your charting. She had a history of delivering very quickly, and so she jokingly told the doctor and me that her little girl was going to be here any minute now that she was ruptured. We got her comfortable, and the doctor and I left the room. Shortly after this, the patient's mother came out saying that her daughter had lost consciousness, that she looked strange, and she didn't appear to be breathing. I quickly assessed the state of the patient. I did what I was trained to do in that circumstance, and I assisted anesthesia as he ran a code on the mother that was within my care. In the end, she had experienced a rare but most often fatal occurrence called an amniotic fluid embolism. You may have studied that. The type of embolism, it's an emergency in childbirth. Amniotic fluid enters the bloodstream of the mother, triggering a serious reaction that results in cardiorespiratory failure and massive bleeding. It happens in 1 in every 20,000 births. My patient died on the operating table that day as the physician successfully delivered the baby. The baby did live. This was my hardest day as a nurse, even to this day. The doctor, who was a wonderful older gentleman, spoke with the family, and I recorded every detail of the sentinel event in the hours following it, as a nurse must do in this circumstance. I cried so many tears that day and the days after. There was no fault in patient care or in clinical practice to be found, which would later be confirmed by a hospital board that the doctor and I went before in the aftermath of the event. When I left my unit that evening, I was met by the patient's mother outside the doors. She was understandably very emotional. But rather than raging at me for not being able to change her terrible circumstance, for not doing something, anything, to save her daughter, for not changing or avoiding this, all of which would have been understandable. She said through her tears, "You were so kind and good to her." And I was changed as a nurse that day, though it was a very difficult lesson to learn. We cannot always change the fate or health outcomes for our patients, but we can show them such tremendous compassion that they and their loved ones are blessed by our presence at their bedside no matter what. You will have days when you're challenged to do this by grouchy patients, difficult physicians, challenges in your personal life. That was certainly the case for me. But right now, as you wait to receive your white coats, you commit to put on the cloak of compassion and to do all that is within your power to bless the lives that are entrusted to your care. If I could share another lesson I've learned over the years, a less weepy lesson, I would tell you to never underestimate yourselves in your role as a nurse. You are not less than a physician in your ability because you've chosen this path. You've not taken the lazy road into medicine. You are at the heart of healthcare, and you are the driving force on most hospital units. I've worked with many wonderful physicians over the years, and I absolutely honor their work. But truth be told, you will do the majority of the work at the patient's bedside. Labor and delivery is a lot more labor than delivery, and it was me and my fellow nurses that spent hours in the monitoring of patients, watching contraction patterns, fetal and maternal heart rate, making changes to position, requesting orders for med changes that needed to be made. The doctor would come in at my call, deliver the baby, and then leave for me to initiate and handle recovery. You will listen to your patients, and you will explain their course of care as many times as they need to hear it to understand. You will comfort and reassure them when they are overcome with fear. You will constantly assess for the smallest changes in the physical status and cognition of your patient. because you formed a bond that will allow for that level of detailed care. You will apply the science you've learned and the heart you've cultivated in the service of your patients. I love the quote, "Nursing is the finest art. It requires not only scientific knowledge and skills, but also qualities such as patience, compassion, and dedication." Some of the most intelligent, intuitive, fast-thinking, and capable people that I have known have been nurses, many of whom have guided the physicians at the bedside in the direction that would be best for the patient before them, because they knew the patient in a way that that doctor may not, beyond the pages of the chart. These are not just bodies to be quantified by lab results and diagnostic imaging. They are people to be handled in their totality. How many times have you heard someone recount a medical experience and they say, "I had the best nurse"? I've heard it a lot. You are critical in the framework of healthcare and will be remembered if you do your job well. Own your role as a deeply important one. Have pride in it. Honor it. And strive to be at the top of your profession for as long as you practice. Finally, in keeping with that thought, I want to encourage all of you to be lifelong learners. The medical field is dynamic, it is ever-changing and innovating. There is so much to learn in the science behind it and the evidence-based practice of it. Putting on these white coats today is a launching pad into an amazing future. To continue to learn and grow in this field will make you exceptional practitioners and will open so many doors of opportunity for you. The possibilities with a nursing degree are endless. It is a blessing of choosing this professional path. I too am still learning and still determining what course my own advanced education will take. I'm grateful to be a part of a profession that is needed in our communities, it is valuable, and it is versatile. Nursing can move with you through all the stages of your life and morph into what best suits your professional and personal aspirations. Do not become complacent in your role. Be humble to learn from your professors and your colleagues. Reach for certifications in your areas of practice. Take the opportunities that arise where you are employed to advance yourself. It will be enriching to you as a professional nurse and a human being. There is much to look forward to for all of you. Student nurses, I honor you for the time and effort you are putting into your education now. And I honor you for the work you are on the precipice of doing. Go forward and show them Jesus. Show them that you are competent, that you are equipped by God with the skills and nature to do this very important work of caring for people, body and soul. Tonight, put on your white coats with the resolve to uphold the precepts it represents. In making a commitment to be compassionate and capable and patient-centered in your care, you will make Florida College and the nursing body as a whole so proud. I have such faith that each of you will be an asset to this profession, and I look forward to calling you my colleagues in this field of nursing. Congratulations.
At this time, I'm going to ask Mrs. Aitchison and Mrs. Paquette to come forward, and they will read the names of the students one by one, and they will don their coats, and then Mrs. Orff will lead them in the reciting of the oath of compassionate patient care.
Bay. James Mwakiande. Rylan Price. Berlin Soto. Please take a moment and congratulate our nursing students.
I know. It's gonna be some long sections. All right. You'll repeat after me. If you want to follow along, the oath is in your program. As a future nurse in the Florida College Nursing Program,
As a future nurse in the Florida College Nursing Program,
I pledge to integrate the love of God into my future practice.
I pledge to integrate the love of God into my future practice.
I will treat each patient as a unique creation
I will treat each patient as a unique creation
in His image and for His glory,
in His image and for His glory,
providing culturally and spiritually competent care
providing culturally and spiritually competent care
that meets the needs of patients from diverse backgrounds.
that meets the needs of patients from diverse backgrounds.
I will communicate effectively
I will communicate effectively
and provide leadership to advance the nursing profession
and provide leadership to advance the nursing profession
while practicing safe, quality, patient-centered care
while practicing safe, quality, patient-centered care
based on evidence and critical judgment.
based on evidence and critical judgment.
And I will uphold professional responsibility and accountability,
And I will uphold professional responsibility and accountability,
making ethical decisions and fulfilling my roles in nursing.
making ethical decisions and fulfilling my role in nursing.
My goal is to honor God through my education
My goal is to honor God through my education
and serve those in need with a loving heart.
and serve those in need with a loving heart.
I'll now invite Jillian Francis back up. She is one of our junior ambassadors for the program, and she will be doing some closing remarks.
On behalf of the entire cohort, we want to thank you guys for coming. It's been such a joy to see all of your faces here today. We have some refreshments and little buntlet cakes for y'all to enjoy, and just spend some time talking to others, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your